So all of us at one point in our life had a moment where we lack motivation when it comes to our job, right? And maybe not you. Maybe you love your job. It's great. You have fun at it. You enjoy it. But you probably know someone that lacks motivation when it comes to the work. I mean, shoot, look at today, man. You can go on social media. You could talk about all the people that hate their jobs, or they don't like what they do, or the fact that they have to do this for 30, 40, 50 years. It's like they just can't even fathom that, right? So there's so many people that have gotten to a point where they just had zero motivation, zero passion for their work. I remember even for myself when it came to my last office job. I remember before I left that the motivation was gone, right? Now I'll get into that later in this video, but we've all had that. We all know someone, or we've had that moment where we like motivation, and sometimes it comes to that point where you have to make a change, and I'm all for that, right? Maybe you got to make a change when it comes to a new job, a new career path, or maybe starting a business. Now, the only thing is, especially for myself, is like when I made that decision to leave my job, I always said to myself, like, whether this works out or not, I'm not going to blame anyone if it doesn't work out, right? I'm accountable for what happens. I'm responsible for what happens. I'm not gonna blame anything. I'm not gonna blame society. And I say the same for anyone that's making that change as well. If you're going to make that change and you make that choice, then understand that it is be accountable for the actions that you make, for the choices that you make, right? Whether it works out or not, right? Because ultimately it comes down to you, and it's the choice that you make. So in this video, I'm gonna show you two ladies who have zero passion, have zero motivation for their jobs, right, for the work that they do, and they're gonna share their experience, and then I'm gonna let them talk, and then I'll share my thoughts.
Is anyone else at this point in life where they are just struggling to find the motivation to work, but they are terrified of losing their job? I currently have such low motivation to do the same work that I have been doing for the last however many years I've been at this job. And in the grand scheme of things, my job is really nice. Like, I have a very cushy job. It pays me well. I am actually doing something that I'm good at. But I am having more frequent existential crises because every day I wake up and open my laptop and do the same thing, and I'm like, this cannot be it.
And I think for a lot of people, this is an issue, right? The fact that, and I've heard this many times, like you hear people talk about how they have a good job, right? They get good pay. They like their coworkers. They really like their job. However, the fact for some reason, they still have zero motivation for that job. And I think for a lot of it is because they find no fulfillment in that job, right? Obviously, it's a job. It's work. It's not something you're working for someone else, right? You're working, helping someone else make money, get rich. And I think for a lot of people, it's the fact that they have no fulfillment when it comes to their work, where the fact that they have to do this every day is something that just doesn't drive them. Like, even for myself, I do this every day. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym. I get back from the gym, then I sit down on my desk and get to work. But I look forward to waking up every morning because this is something that I like to do. I have a passion for wanting to make myself better than I was the day before, and that drives me. So it's rare that I have a day where I'm like, oh man, I'm not excited to wake up the next morning and do this all over again. But for a lot of people, when you're doing it for someone else, it's hard to find that fulfillment. It makes it difficult. It makes it tough, even though you have a job that pays well and something that you like, where you're good at it. But and we understand this, work is work, right? We know this is a responsibility, this is a duty. These are things that we have to do because we have a responsibility, whether obviously you want to buy things for yourself or you have a family that you're providing for, right? You have to make money. So this is what it is. But if you're going to find passion and fulfillment in that job, it comes from doing something that you want to do. Okay, so let's continue.
But also, this has to be it right now, because if I lose my job, then I cannot lead the life that I currently have. And because the economy is going to and all the people who are job searching right now are struggling really hard, like, I feel like I need to be really grateful for what I have right now, but then also at the same time, I am grateful, but I also don't want to be here. And I'm not even just wondering that there is more to life than work. I know that there is more to life than work because I've had a taste of life outside work.
Now, of course, there's more to life than work, right? Like, family, children, raising a family, traveling, just doing things, hanging out with friends and family. Of course, that's always, there's always more to life than work. But unfortunately, like, when it comes to work, we have to work, right? We need things we have to work in order to get things that we want. And of course, and obviously people trying to find that work-life balance, that's always the tough part. right? And people, complain about that and the fact that they have to work so much. But work is work, right? We all understand we have to go to work. We have to we have to go to work and provide and do the and go out there and make money because we want things that we have things that we need and things that we want. So that's I think for a lot of people is trying to figure out that balance. And of course, if you want that life of leisure, you have to create that life for yourself, right? No company, no job owes that to you. It's something you have to create for yourself. All right.
Because I live in a capitalist society, this is my figurative jail cell. This is me for the rest of my life. I cannot fathom doing this for another 40, 50 years, if not more, because I don't think I'm going to be able to retire. I'm not even halfway to 65 yet. I've only been working full-time for 8 years, and I cannot see this being the rest of my life. But also, I have to be grateful because I have a job right now.
That's right. So, I mean, look at this. So a lot of people talk about having to do this for 40 years, right? I don't know, as a man, I'm looking at him like, okay, like I expect to be working for the rest of my life. Now, obviously, as you get older, you don't want to be having to work, into your 60s, 70s, and 80s at the same capacity as you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, right? You don't want to have to do that, right? Eventually, as you get older, you want to be able to have to work less and still maintain that lifestyle for yourself. And of course, that's up to you. Like depending on how you set up your retirement funds, set up your whatever passive income that you have. It's that's your responsibility. Whether you have Social Security for supplemental income, you have to set that up for yourself because obviously no one wants to have to work as hard into their 60s, 70s, and 80s as they do in their younger years, and that's something you have to set up for yourself. But when it comes to work, I mean, what else are you gonna do? I understand people talking about having to retire, in their early 50s, and I mean, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna just sit on the beach and just chill and relax? Like you gotta find some purpose, especially as a man. Like doing something, working towards something, having purpose in what you do. I think that's important. Unless like I said, unless you have a spouse unless you come from a lot of money, or you have a spouse that's gonna allow you that life of leisure. But when it comes to retirement, I expect to be working for the rest of my life. Of course, not as hard as I am as my younger years, but I expect to be working because it gives me purpose. It is something to do, right? And I think that's important. So I don't know. So let's go to the next video. And this person, she just has zero motivation for work. She just like working, like she just doesn't want to do that. It's just she just she wants to chill all day. So I'll let her talk.
If you're somebody that enjoys your job, what is it? What is it? Because I don't believe you. There's not a single job in this entire world that I would be like, I cannot wait to wake up and do this. There's nothing that I'm passionate about. Literally nothing. Hobbies, sure. A job, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I cannot stand behind it. I want to wake up, I want to go to the gym, I want to run my little errands, I want to go to the grocery store, I want to lay by the pool if it's nice, I want to cook my boyfriend dinner, and I want to snuggle and go to bed. 9 to 5. Are you serious?
You know what? That's cool. If that's the life that she wants, that's cool, right? Hopefully her boyfriend makes really good money, and hopefully they get married and he can provide that lifestyle for her. Right? Like if that's what you want to do, that's cool. Just make sure that you find that person that's going to provide that lifestyle for you. Because if you end up single, then that lifestyle is gone. You're gonna end up having to work that 9 to 5, right? And hopefully she says she wants to cook for her boyfriend. That's always a good thing. She wants to, and that's good. Like if you want to be able to just chill by the pool, just relax, have your hobbies, and just go to the gym, by all means. That's cool. Just hopefully you have a person, your boyfriend, your spouse that's going to provide that lifestyle for you. Because if you're single, man, that life is gone. Okay. So if that's what you want to do, and anybody else that wants to do that, just make sure you have a person that's going to provide that lifestyle for you as well. Because if you're single, it's very difficult to do that, right? And this is the thing, right? When it comes to motivation, right? Like going back to when I worked at my last office job, right? I remember going to that job every day, and it got to a point, I worked there probably maybe 2-3 years, and it got to a point where it was just like every day I'm going to work and I feel dead inside, right? It's just like I don't want to do this, right? My passion was being a personal trainer. Right, that's what I wanted to do. I was into fitness, and it was I liked that lifestyle or the thought of that lifestyle. And for me, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I eventually need to make that move. And eventually I did, right? I said, you know what, I'm going to leave. I was making decent money there, and I know going to personal training, that's there's you have no idea when it comes to the income. You got to figure things out, and that was a choice that I made. It was something I had passion for. It's something I wanted to do, and eventually I left that job and went into personal training. Did that for a year, and I was like, you know what, this isn't going to work. And then I became a kickbox instructor. And then eventually, I started an online business, started making money there, and ever since then, I've been working, online businesses. So, and that's the path you go sometimes, right? Sometimes you make a choice and you say, this doesn't work out. Okay. And for me, it was just like, you know what, I needed to figure out something that gave me motivation, that gave me passion, maybe motivated me to want to do something. And eventually, like, going to the personal training, then going to kickboxing, and eventually doing business, which is what I really want to do. That was where my motivation and passion lied. And eventually it took me, it's funny how you get there, right? The path that you go to get there, right? You go to personal training, which is something I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then as I started doing it, I was like, you know what, I don't see, long term this is gonna work. Right now, if I could do things differently, I would go about things differently. But that's you don't know what you don't know, and eventually you get to a place where you want to go in. But I knew for myself, I was gonna hold myself accountable. Like, I'd never blame anyone for the choices that I made in my life. It was my responsibility. I was accountable for everything, all the choices that I made. And eventually it got to me a point where now I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and that's for like anybody else. Like, especially if you're feeling lack of motivation when it comes to your job, it's more likely because obviously you're helping someone get rich, right? You're helping someone else make money, right? Because you have a responsibility. Right? You want to buy things. You have your family you got to take care of. Obviously you have to work, but while you're doing that, do something on the side. Whether you're doing a side hustle while you're starting a business, do something on the side that's going to bring you motivation. That's going to bring you passion, bring you fulfillment. Right, because obviously working these 9-to-5 job is not really conducive to being happy for a lot of people. Right, you do it because it's a job. But if you want to create, happiness for yourself, it's obviously having the time to spend with your friends and family, having the freedom to do the things that you want, and obviously focusing on your health and fitness. These are the things that bring happiness, at least for me. And I think having that choice to be able to dictate your income is something that brings happiness, especially for me. So I think that's what, for a lot of people, I think that's what it is. But I think you have to make the choice and make the decision to do that. All right. So those are my thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share it. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care and we're going. Later.